I love doing these. Hey, we are live, and I'm excited to be here, Todd Cahill, and with my great friend and business partner, Emmanuel Zavaios, and he is in Utah, and I am in Las Vegas in a parking lot. And it is what it is. I'm doing a lot of coaching calls today and a lot of business calls, and happen to be parked, so I'm not driving. But today's topic that we're going to talk about is entrepreneurship. And right now, 2021 is exploding with people that are wannabe entrepreneurs, from cryptocurrency to investing to e-commerce to, it's just there's so many abundance right now. But at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is something you need to learn. And we're going to go over 5 things on really what it takes to be a successful long-term entrepreneur, that you're not just in the short term and everything implodes. Because me and Emmanuel both have seen that over the years. People that get in, they don't have the education, and then they get even rich quick stuff, but then it implodes. So we want to help you in the long game. And what's so cool about Emmanuel Zavaios, if you don't know Emmanuel, I mean, other than his cool hair, he's a great looking guy. He's a great family man. He just had a baby, Skylar, baby boy, with his beautiful wife, Jessica. He lives in Utah. But one of the things that Emmanuel is just a world class in, and I love interviewing people that are world class, not just like he's good off the street in his community. He's world class when it comes to energy healing. And that is a hot topic right now. Energy healing. What the heck is energy healing? Do I have to have more energy? Do I have to have a bang for energy? Maybe. But energy healing is something that he is top notch in. And he's all the certifications. He's the number one body code practitioner, highest rated practitioner in the world. And we actually run an institute called the Inside Out Institute that really is innovative energy healing meets conscious leadership coaching. So we're going to combine that philosophy into this talk about entrepreneurs. So Emmanuel, thanks for joining us today. And I just kind of want to start off the conversation, and we'll go ahead and start off with you on really, you made that list of the top 5. Why don't you go ahead and start us off? We'll go kind of back and forth.
Sure. First of all, I'm glad to be here. And for those of you who don't know Todd Cahill, he is one of the top entrepreneurs side. So he's somebody who's definitely run through the ranks of different companies, and he's doing very well. So I'm just glad to associate with people like him, and he's become one of my best friends. And so, so grateful to be on here. And for those of you who don't know about energy healing, you've been living under a rock, it's okay. Let's just lift up the rock. Let's get you out there all squished up, And the reality is that I feel, how many of you guys can relate that maybe you're into self-development, maybe you're into checking out seminars, maybe you check out the TED Talks, but no matter how much you learn, for some reason you still stay stuck. Something is kind of holding you back. And it's the invisible that kind of creates horrible symptoms in your life, and what I talk about is quantum physics. It's the fact that if we would just recognize what I call the emotional energetic body, I think we would finally realize what's really holding us back. And the first thing I want to talk about is our schedule. I used to be I was an energy healer. I started about 6 years ago, and I was just very militant about, I'm going to find as many people as I can to lower their pain, and I'm going to just release emotional baggage and help them out. And I took my business very, very seriously. There's 2 tips that I kind of applied to myself, and maybe I can ask Todd, what are 2 tips he can give on, like, in regards to his schedule? I know he's kind of like a master scheduler. He has his notebook with his organizer, and everything's all tabbed out. So I admire that about him. But for me, for example, I just know 2 things. One is there's A activity, and then there's like B activity, and there's C activity. And C activity is kind of just like cleaning stuff. C stands for clean. You're just cleaning stuff. There's no real money being made during that time, so you're not really producing. When people are cleaning in Starbucks, that means there's no profits going into Starbucks in that office right there in that area. And there's B, which is just like learning, like getting trained. And you've seen people at Starbucks where they train other people and things like that. Or you might be in a new entrepreneur in this new company, and they're giving you trainings. There's still, your business is technically closed. My goal when I first started my practice was to be an A activity, which means I'm talking to new people, which means the door needs to keep revolving to meet new people so I can do a free session on them, and then they can be impressed by what the emotion code and body code can do. So that's one of the major tips for me. If you want to write that down, it's a cool little tip. Like, what activity are you spending the most time with, A, B, or C? And if you're complaining about your business, you're probably in B and C, jumping back and forth, and you're not staying in A. Another thing is, when I don't know if you probably heard this, Todd, like someone say, treat your business like a business, But then a mentor told me that said, like, no, treat your business like a job. and then one day it'll pay you like a business. And I remember that really helped me out because I was good at clocking in. I was good at thinking I was clocking in, but I really wasn't. I was thinking about my business, but I wasn't doing my business. Big difference between thinking and they think like they think that the time will actually count if you're just thinking about your business, but that doesn't count. So I just remember, like, if I said I'm going to work from this time to this time, then I would sit down in my chair and I wouldn't leave my chair unless I had a bathroom break, and then I would get back to work. So that's kind of like some 2 tips there that I want to kind of share with, like, what I did to build my energy healing practice. Todd, if you want to share maybe 2 of your best tips for scheduling and like how to like really be a master scheduler as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, well, it's you versus your routine, like I read in my book. And I think a lot of people have to really return to their routine, see what's working, see what's not working, and then redefine it. And, all you have to do is check your bank account. So if your bank account is not doing so well, it's your routine. If your bank account's doing well or it's growing, it's your routine. And I love systems, save yourself some time, energy, and money. I come from the direct selling industry, and now I'm the CEO and co-founder with you. That's not in that industry. It's a whole different ballgame. And what I found is because I master it in the first company I was with, the first industry I was with, I've really become a master now that I'm a CEO. When I'm off, though, I'm off. And it really helps my productivity. But when it comes to A activity, you did a great job with B and C activity. But what is A activity? Right now, even doing a StreamYard with you, as much as I love this is B activity. This is something that is inspiring to others. We're just giving free content, and maybe someone's interested in maybe being a part of our institute. Maybe they want to get the membership for $250 a month and get all the value. Cool. But when A activity is when I'm actually talking to another human being about the institute, about our membership, or I'm talking to a business about employee benefits with how we can really go into their kind of employee benefit, structure. That's A activity, because that's going to produce income, high producing, income activity. And that's what I've always, wanting to go back to. And a lot of people say, well, it's not all about the money, but yeah, it is. When it comes to running your business, if you're not making money, you're out of business. So you have to focus on sales first, and you have to focus I don't care what, any business, real estate agent, you own a bowling alley. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you're not bringing in exposures, if you're not bringing in customers into that business, then eventually you're not going to have a business. So, and that's where you can pivot. Right now we're in the middle of COVID. I mean, maybe if you're a public speaker, you might not be, you might be out of business if you think that, or you're just waiting to, be in C activity. If you're waiting to get into some kind of place where you can't right now, that will open up again. I think in May and June. I think I predict COVID in a lot of states other than Florida, because I'm going there next week, but or a couple weeks from now. But it's wide open. Florida's wide open, and maybe Texas. But I believe in May and June, and this is really good for you guys. Grab a pen real quick. I believe COVID is going to be opened up so that you can go and travel more, and those people. There's going to be events. There's going to be opportunities for people to grow and get back into that public arena. But you're going to have to pivot still even on that. So A activity is how your income is improving, your business is thriving, you're bringing in customers. That's what I would spend 80% on. So the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, spend 80% of your time in the top 20% of what's going to bring you 80% of the revenue. So spend 80% of your time on the top 2 things that are producing 80% of your revenue. That's what I would say about that.
That's awesome. What's that called? Pareto principle? It's so
Pareto. Yeah, I was a philosopher in 1800s, and they call it the 80-20 rule, but it's actually the Pareto principle.
He knows his stuff. And then you also mentioned bowling too. I don't know if you like bowling at all. Do you like bowling at all?
300 every time. Nobody can beat me. I just don't want to be professional right now because I'm too busy with A activity.
Sure. So we're also teaching you how to be humble today.
Yeah.
So it's really, really good at that. The second thing I want to talk about is a beautiful word that people delay to talk about. There's going to be a pun in here somewhere. People delay to talk about procrastinating, And what I want to share with you guys is that it's a real thing. I want to share with you some energies that I've found in some of my clients. So I've been running a practice for over 6 years, meeting with over 100 clients a week. And you may say that's a lot, but the reality is if you're on your mission, then you don't really work a day in your life. I truly believe that. And one of the things that I've noticed is that procrastination is a real thing. and there could be certain energies that are holding us back. See, what's more important when life circumstances show up? Is it knowledge or is it reactivity? And what I'm here to tell you is that we try to acquire knowledge to become better people, but if you have a reactivity issue, then all the knowledge means nothing. For example, if you read a whole book on patience, but you grew up with a family life where your dad's angry with you all the time and you've absorbed all his anger energies, good luck trying to implement a book on patience. So the same thing too. Maybe you read the book, Eat That Frog, which is all about not procrastinating, but then you have energies that are saying, don't do that, because procrastinating makes you feel safe. So you have to feel safe. The subconscious is all it really wants to do is keep you safe. And so, for example, one of the things that I've seen in people is these no will to energies, no will to do something. There's maybe a phase in your life where maybe you're just it's kind of a stressful period of your life, and there was some moments where you had a no will to do this or no will to do that. Here's the scary part. After you leave that phase and you're over it, unfortunately, that no will to whatever it was stays in your body. And then now when you find something great, or you find an amazing opportunity, or you find a new business, you are bringing that no will to energy into the new business, which will officially sabotage you in that area. You see, so you have to remove that energy because you're over that phase. Like it's almost like you left a mud pool, but then there's still mud all over you. So you have to remove the mud completely, shower yourself, or do an energy healing session, and then move on. For you, Todd, maybe you can give a good example of like, what have you done to kind of punch something in the face in regards to procrastination? What have you done?
It's something that I'm not really great at, that I'm really striving to be better at. I think it's easy to procrastinate on paying bills, procrastinate on things that you don't want to do. But what I try to really visualize is me not doing this causes drama, and drama is going to be hurting my A activity. So going back to number one, A activity, that's going to bring me happiness, joy. It's going to bring me satisfaction. It's going to build my confidence. So if I do procrastinate on number two, like you're talking about, it's not going to bring me joy, happiness. So then I wake up and I'm like, okay, that's my motivation. So I think when someone says, well, I'm not that motivated, and they procrastinate a lot, which I've met and you met thousands of these people, which I get it. I get where they're coming from. They're not motivated. They do procrastinate because I think they're not understanding, or they have that lack of self-awareness of what is going to happen. But then the same people, when their back's against the wall, the IRS is knocking at their door, the legal system is knocking at their door, collections is knocking at their. Now they're like, oh my God, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do it. So it's just kind of preparing all of us to stay in that blissful state of A activity, so that we're not distracted by the distractions that we created. And that's why it's a you versus you battle. We are the ones that can manifest amazing things, or we can manifest a lot of negative things. So I would just say, if you are there and you have procrastinated, think about you not doing it is going to bring so much more bottom line to your happiness, to your consistency, and also trust with your loved ones. It's going to bring a lot of trust with your loved ones, so that they're not like, oh gosh. And trust in another chapter of my book is you versus your promises. And that, to me right now in my life, that's like my focus, is just promise and keeping them, and not proving myself, because there's a lot of energy healing around that for me. I don't want to always have to prove myself to everybody, because that's not very healthy. I mean, there are times where you do have to prove yourself. I mean, whether it's sports or whether it's business, but I don't want to just always be like that. But it's just, I do want to prove to myself that what I say is what I mean, and I don't just overpromise and underdeliver. So that's very important, to not procrastinate, so that I can build trust with people.
Yeah, and I feel like, in my opinion, procrastination kind of tends to bleed in other areas, and what you were saying is like, you want to, you want to have integrity with yourself. Like you said, it's all about, you versus you, right? It's like that's what it really is. It's like that actually is very healthy. It's like you versus you in everything you do, and you're not proving to anybody else. I love that quote that says procrastination is the cornerstone of poverty. And that's one of my favorite quotes. I remember I posted that and I offended someone, and I'm like, then there's probably something you need to heal in that area. Yeah. But I think he was coming from the angle of like, well, there's people that are poor, and it's like they didn't procrastinate to become poor, and he totally missed it. It was more of just like, right? It has to do a lot more with like entrepreneurs, and like if you procrastinate on what you're supposed to be doing, then you will end up in a poor situation, And so So I want to move on to like best books to read. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite, is there's a couple of books that I really like. There's this book. I'm not sure if you're really aware of this one here, but it's called You versus You. Okay, it's really good.
Never heard of it.
The second book that I highly recommend, that's You versus You. The third
Never
book,
heard of it. Guy's probably a
You versus.
Okay. Yeah. Well, when your book comes out, I'll do the same for you. When your book comes out, Healing the Healer, coming out. When is it coming out? When's your book coming out?
It's coming out in July.
It's going to be on the bestseller, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and New York Times. Everyone needs to really make a note when that comes out. It's going to be absolutely epic book by Emmanuel Zavalos. Can't wait for it to come out.
I appreciate that. And by the way, I just want to share my favorite book, though, honestly, besides You versus You, and besides the good book, is I would say The Emotion Code. If you haven't read The Emotion Code, I mean, honestly, like I've read so many self-development. I worked with a 17-year-old client today, and I just told him, he said, I am so envious of you. He's like, and he was just so mellow, so calm, like, kind of too cool for school. And I was like, you have no idea. If I read that book, The Emotion Code, at 17, do you know how much hardship I would have saved myself, so much pain I would have saved myself, knowing that I have baggage, I need to remove it so that the next 5 years of my life are so different. I mean, I would be in a completely different place at 23 years old if I read the book, The Emotion Code, at 17, just knowing that other people have baggage, I have baggage, and there's a way to remove it. What about for you? What's your favorite book besides your own book? I mean, what other book out there is really changed or kind of impacted you in regards to entrepreneurship?
Any Tom Clancy book? No, just kidding. The Bourne Ultimatum, The Bourne Identity. No, those are just my favorite movies. I would say honestly, not just to get a book out. For me, I'm all about leadership, and I remember being by the pool when I was 20 years old. I just bought my first place in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and right before I actually worked for this man, it was a red and black book, and it came out in 1998, and this was 2001, 2002. It was the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and I took this piece of content from 2002 all the way to even now. But even in my direct sales business, that's all I ever used to use. The law of the lid, the law of influence, the law of E.F. Hutton. I used the 21 laws to really build organizations that expanded in the tens of thousands. And it was by Dr. John Maxwell. He just turned 74 the other day. And just any John Maxwell book, but that's one of his best. And that's just something that anyone, like a lay person, layman, that just starting out, they don't really know much about leadership. I would say, that book really could help them understand what are the laws, the irrefutable laws, which is literally absolutely widely accepted. It's a law, to understand what is a leader. Can I be a leader? Do I have to be born a leader? Do I have to be rich to be a leader? Do I have to be white? Do I have to be black? Do I have to be Asian? Can everyone be a leader? And you'll learn that the answer is yes. Anyone can be a leader. Anyone can develop, but you got to know the laws in order to lead others, in order to gain influence. That's what leadership is. Like, if you have no influence, you're not a leader. So, understanding what influence is, what it could do to your bank account, what it could do to society, what it could do even in bad ways. You read a book on Hitler, and then you also read a book on Princess Diana. I mean, two way different people, but it's important to know that influence can kill and influence can also inspire. So are you going to use your influence wisely? It's very, very important that we all know that.
Yeah, there was a movie called The Motorcycle Diaries that I watched, and it has to do with the story of Che Guevara. This isn't a political video at all, but I just remember how the camera started changing angles. In the beginning of the movie, it was just kind of following him around. He was on a motorcycle and whatever. But later on, I remember how he had lung issues kind of in his earlier life. He was a doctor, but I remember this beautiful moment where he swam across the river, or this like little this like stream, this really big old stream, and like he swam across it and almost drowned in it trying to cross. But he saw a bunch of people that had a lot of health issues, and similar to back in the day, like you couldn't hang around leprous people, like people who had leprosy. But he went back to them because they were all handicapped in some sort of way, but they ostracized them in an island. And so he crossed the river, and I remember when he was talking to everyone, the camera changed angles where everyone was looking at him at different, like an admiration. Like it was like he was changing because he was becoming a better person. It was like that you automatically get put in a position of influence. That's why the book, John C. Maxwell, I like Winning with People. That was one of my favorite books. Almost his version of how to win friends.
Yes. 25 Ways to Win with People with Les Perrat. Yeah, it's a great book. Yeah,
it's a great book. So yeah, good. Let's keep talking about more about entrepreneurship stuff. I know if you're an entrepreneur, you'd really benefit. If you guys can do me a favor too, feel free to tag anybody that is an entrepreneur out there, maybe wants to hear some of these things here, because Todd basically made millions and millions of dollars in the direct sales industry, and then he became a transformational coach. I'm on the energy healing side, also became one of the more popular practices in the world using the body code. So we're talking from two different places, but we've had our success. But what I've realized, in my personal opinion, is there comes a point too where you want to become significant. Success is great, and it's a great little island to sit on, but I feel like there comes a point where like money is great, but then I want to like be significant and help others become significant. And I really feel like that's what Inside Out's all about doing. It's like I went to that island, and then all of a sudden I was like, I wish there were more energy healers on this island with me. I'm kind of here by myself. And and I feel like they have so many voices that haven't been heard and drowned in mediocrity, and I wanted them to come out and experience what I've experienced. And so that's why we're making this Inside Out Institute. But let's talk about how to stay motivated. Like, what do you do? And for me, for example, I like doing at least one energy healing session a week, and I know Todd's been pretty strict regimen with that. And if you've noticed, Todd, it's kind of like you notice if you do skip your session, or you realize you're like, it's almost like you didn't take your shower, because there's so much toxicity when it comes to business, relationships, and just life, and it's just to go out there all heavy and dirty again. It's just you can't really be your true self. But what do you do right now? Like, what's one tip for everyone in regards to like staying motivated as an entrepreneur? Because I know Elon Musk did that really cool quote where he says, if someone needs to convince you to be an entrepreneur or stay motivated, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur. But what do you do for your own personal motivation?
What I do, actually, right here I have it. It's a manifestation journal, and motivation is just all nonsense. It's good to stay motivated, but it's like our feelings. It's just like this. It's like dolphins in the ocean. It's like coming up. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, boom. No, I'm not. Oh, I'm so happy. No, I'm not. Right. So that's what motivation is. But what I love is manifestation. I know we're having our heart-to-heart with our clients tonight, and it's going to be amazing. This is my favorite topic. And what I do is I literally every morning is I write, and I'll just share with you exactly the how to say it. I write this down. I think this is really going to change people's lives. I write the question that I ask myself is, what is it going to take? So in my finances, in my relationships, in anything, even if you have a debt and you're like, I don't even want to pay the debt. What is it going to take for this debt of XYZ to dissolve? Just literally go away, and not even putting all the effort. And then you basically, claim it and then leave it. Like you just claim, you don't like look at it all day and don't do anything. You basically write down, what is it going to take to manifest this? What is it going to take to generate this kind of income? What is it going to take to build this beautiful relationship? And you can use, beautiful words and beautiful things that you want to manifest, like vulnerable, authentic, non-judgmental, expansive, happy, light, joyful, go on vacation, relax, at ease, trustworthy, massive, abundant relationship with someone. How does that happen? Well, I have to do these things. So my motivation comes from what I'm actually manifesting, in my own life. And, even down to my Instagram. So it's funny. I was like, what is it going to take to get 1 million followers and verified on Instagram? Well, I just talked to the guy today that literally any second of any day, I'm getting the check mark on Instagram. And I'm 3 in the queue right now with Facebook. And again, I wrote this in the beginning of the month. The other things have already come true this month. It's crazy. So this is what keeps me motivated, is not just like, I hope I make money and I hope this is a good month, is I literally predict it. I literally create my own success and whatever I want. And it's not easy. You're going to have to go through a lot of stuff to get it emotionally. But that's why we have someone like Emmanuel to keep me on track emotionally and the emotion code, body code. So I don't know how people not stay motivated with the power that they have in manifestation. I really don't. Once they understand really, truly what it is, you can do anything you want with life.
Well, I don't even know what to say about that. That was so powerful. And I can't wait to just maybe one day sneak into his room and like take his journal and see all the stuff he was manifesting, like manifesting a very awesome, handsome Peruvian.
I lost this in Vegas. I lost this last week in
Oh,
Vegas, and somebody found it because it has my name on it. I
oh,
thought my life was over. So yeah,
oh,
so it manifested back to me.
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
One of the things that for me that is that's very liberating is knowledge. There's certain knowledge that is very motivating for me. The one that I want to share with you, for you out there, is that in my book, my first chapter is it's a really challenging one, but it's almost like I want to talk about every avenue of every avenue in your life, every influence that has given you misinformation about your true identity. That's my first chapter of my book, and I go through like your school to like your parents to your friends to your neighbors. I literally knock down like what is the problem with listening to flesh and blood, and it's not an easy chapter that I'm writing. But one of the things that it kind of makes sense. I think a lot of people believe in a higher self or creator or whatever. Well, let's just say there's a creator up there. I mean, and you're a son or daughter of a creator, and the creator made everything around you. Then it wouldn't be a very long assumption to say that you're also a co-creator. That you can co-create. Because if you're a son or daughter, it's almost like a son or a daughter of a carpenter. You probably could do some carpentry work as well. It's the
Right.
same. It's like we're co-creators. So that's what Todd's doing when he's writing down something, and his conscious brain seeing it, and his subconscious brain seeing it, and he has deity in him. That's how this is all manifesting. He's producing something. He's creating. He's co-creating. So I think it's very powerful to keep reminding yourself that if you came from a creator and he is a creator, then you're a creator as well. The question is, what are you creating in your life? And you need to write it down. If you're not happy with what you have in front of you, look around you, look at every single area of your life and be like, what have I produced? This has to do with what I was creating 5 years ago or what I was creating a year ago. And it just, maybe I was negative thinking. Maybe it was all negative thinking. I'm probably going to get a horrible boyfriend like I always do. I'm probably going to get a bad job that doesn't like me. See,
Yep.
you're
And they do.
with your words, because words are like spirit, and it's like looking for flesh. So
Yes.
words are like spirit, always looking for flesh. So you have to be very careful what you say, because it's always seeking to manifest somewhere. And
That's
so
right.
that's great, awesome here. And the last share with why do entrepreneurs? I think you may know the answer to this, Todd. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of like debating if you know the answer for this, but like, why do entrepreneurs need more healing? Maybe you can kind of expound on why that is.
Because we go through a lot of trauma. Being an entrepreneur is the hardest thing on the planet. I mean, sometimes it's easier to have a 9 to 5 because you basically like you're told what to do and you can sit in that cubicle or even at home and just have a set schedule and but you're never going to be a millionaire. I mean you could if you save up, a lot of money over time and, compound interest, et cetera. But you're never going to have time freedom. You're never going to be able to sit in your car in a parking lot and work from home in Vegas or go to the Bahamas and still work from home or whatever. So it just depends. So it's not for everybody. But entrepreneurs, it's a bumpy ride. So there's some trauma there. I'm not saying like it's bad trauma, like abusive trauma or anything like that. It's trauma. Like people quit, people have problems, customer solutions, all the stuff that you have to go through that, for me, coming from the direct sales industry, thousands and thousands of people quit. I had to stay positive all the time. And now that I'm a CEO of Inside Out Institute, still people quit. I mean, like they literally pay money to get coached and they don't even show up, some people, to their coaching. I mean, it's just people are people. So you have to just kind of you have to be thick skinned. You have to be but also soft. Yeah, you can't just be thick skinned. You have to be soft from the heart. You have to be, so that's where the healing comes in. You can still be a strong leader, a strong entrepreneur, but I think what the healing has done for me, it's made me more compassionate. It's made me more genuine. It's made me more open up my heart because I released my heart walls. Or they might still be there, but we're continuing to release those. It also helps me realize who I really am, in what are my own philosophies. I recently found out for the past 40 years on this planet, I thought God, even though, my conscious side is God is love and God is, omnipotent and all powerful. On my subconscious side, I thought God is kind of a jerk. Like basically he's always testing me. He's angry at me all the time. So that was my subconscious, which 90% of our thinking comes subconsciously. So consciously, I'm like, God is love, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, what a great leader. But subconsciously, I was like, God's a jerk. All he does is test me. He's angry at me. He's gonna judge me. So that's how I lived for almost 40 years on this planet until energy healing made me aware of who God really is on the subconscious side, because it goes back to my childhood on how my dad was with me, how my mom was with me. And like Emmanuel said, flesh, pastors telling me some nonsense, things that weren't true, just because of the time that I was living in the 90s. If you remember the 90s, it was such a Baptist movement in the country where you go to church, have your bagels, have your coffee. Everyone had bagels and coffee in the 90s. And, basically all I heard was, repent, you're going to go to hell. And the Lord's coming before 2000. And, this is, it's just, it never happened. So it's all based on fear. Like God's a jerk, God's angry at us. So we better hurry up and repent because, we're going to all be, burned, so obviously none of that's true. So that's just where I come from. So energy healing has really made me more at peace, has given me more inner peace, and has really opened up the doors so I can expand my heart and I can share it with other people the way that I really want to. And that's being myself, my true self, my little boy self, having fun, really giving back, and really giving that energy to someone else.
And that was powerful stuff. You're talking about some religious programming in there, and like I said, and here's the crazy part though. I mean, we have to just be very real. It's like, see, they all mean well though. You see,
Yeah,
they all mean well, but the reality, but what if they weren't programmed properly? It's getting disseminated down to you.
yes. Yes.
So they didn't go through a scanner where they're just like, hey, you mean well, but you're teaching false doctrine here. It's like they didn't go through that scanner where it went they didn't go through that, And so I think what's really important too is those are some really great points. What I want to share is that I'm going to do this last sort of like figure of speech here, is like, I feel that this is what life's about. It's finding out your gifts and talents. And then what happens is you go into a marathon. Now, when you go into this marathon, there's crowds all around you. I want you to picture a bunch of crowds all around you. Some of you guys will have one person following you. Some of you guys will have 5 people following. Some people will have hundreds. Some of you guys will have thousands. Some of you guys will have millions. But here's the thing: is you're running on that track, and here's the problem: is that we were looking so much at the track that we don't get to look at ourselves. And if we just saw ourselves that we were all bandaged up and we're all wounded and like our left arm is broken and that our right kneecap doesn't work as well, if we just saw that we're just not, it's not a fair game when we come into the track,
Yep.
then it's almost like, why would anybody follow us if there's following an injured leader? You see? And so that for me as an entrepreneur, I'm like, I'm tired of these bandages. I'm tired of these band-aids. I'm tired of these things that are holding me back. I'm going to fix myself first. And as I'm fixing myself, I become more attractive and saying, this person's going to run for the long haul and I feel good around him. I'm going to follow him, you see? And so I really feel like that's how I picture it. And then hundreds will show up, thousands will show up. It's to the person who cares about their subconscious and tends to the basically the demons that have been lodged in their body. If they just remove those, all of a sudden they go, that's a leader I can follow, and then they'll follow you. You see, and I just feel like that's what we're really missing here in this world. Let's just forget about entrepreneurship is true leadership, and I want to kind of echo what Jermaine Johnson said is true servanthood, like a real true servant, and I really feel, again, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say, I'm a believer, and I really believe Jesus Christ was the greatest servant in the whole that's ever lived. But he was a king because of it. It's like the kinghood came because he was the greatest servant. And I just feel like we just need to become better servants out there. And we do that by first serving ourselves and learning who we truly are, learning our identity, removing anything that's holding us back, getting connected with the Creator, and then boom, just run. And then all of a sudden people will follow you. That's my personal opinion there, but I know you probably agree with me, Todd. And so
and I got to just say something, because even if someone's an atheist, I think they'd appreciate this. Jesus, what's interesting about Jesus is I studied the life of him just like you, Emmanuel, 33 years on this earth, and only really made a massive impact in 3 years. Didn't really come on the scene until he was 30. I mean, that's just crazy in itself. Knowing he was God, laid back, took some time off, 30 years off, only built his ministry in 3 years, 2021 years ago, or beyond that, obviously. But what was awesome about him was when he was condemned, he did nothing. When he was condemned, he did nothing. And to me, that really speaks volumes now as age 40, because we react. So if somebody is like right now driving, somebody cuts me off, what the, you middle finger, son of a bio, and I'm supposed to be a believer, right? But I'm just saying, like, Jesus was condemned to be crucified and didn't react. But how many times do we react when our spouse is like raising their voice and like, what did you just say to me? And you're just like, whoa. But Jesus was condemned to death and did not react. So that to me is a testament of where we could go, how much we can learn energy healing and how to heal ourselves from the inside out.
Yep.
Because I want to be like that. I don't want to react. Even if everyone hated me on social media, Todd, you're a moron, you loser. I'm like, hey guys, much love. Love you all. That to me is the most mature thing. And that's what I'm striving to be as a man and as an entrepreneur.
And I'll piggyback off that because now you're getting me all jacked and excited. So, one of the things that I learned from one of my mentors, S. Michael Wilcox, he said that whenever you're going through hard times, always think outward. Always think outward. We're thinking too much inward. And he said that Jesus, you were saying, perfect example of it was when he was getting crucified. He was saying, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." He wasn't thinking about himself even while he was getting nailed to the cross. He was thinking about the salvation of the people that were nailing him to the cross. And then on top of that, there was a thief next to him that was asking for help and saying, "Will you remember me in paradise?" And he says, "Today you will be with me in paradise," because he was thinking about the thief more than he was thinking about himself. And the last thing is that he also, when he saw his mother Mary, he knew that Mother Mary was going to go back to a house of siblings that didn't believe in who he was, and so that she goes down to a negative home after he passes away. He knew that she wasn't going to be in a safe place, so he said, "Mary, this is your son John. John, this is your mother Mary. This is someone that you can still collectively come together like we used to come together." He was thinking about his mom, not thinking about himself. Again, this is like perfect example of someone who's just like always thinking out. But in order to do that, you have to be empowered. You have to know who you are, where you came from, where you're going. That takes healing. And then when you're that empowered, then you can serve. That's what he did. So I'm glad that we got to talk about this. Sometimes we got to throw a little Jesus in there just because, it's just great.
Oh, he's the greatest thing. And I'm not ashamed to talk about him. I mean, like, even if you're an atheist, like even if you don't even think he existed, it's just a great story and just something to strive to be like. I mean, and we love all atheists. We love everyone. I mean, we love everybody. I don't care who you are. It's like, we just want to make an impact in your life so that, you're less reactive, you're more loving, compassionate, caring, kind, more financially fit, more emotionally fit. That's what we're all about in Inside Out Institute. We want everybody. I mean, every religion, every background, every skin color. We don't want a movement just in one color of a skin. We want a movement in all backgrounds. Gay, white, lesbian, straight. We just want to love everybody, and that's what religion's not. It's we want to love you and meet you where you're at and just help you whatever you're struggling with in life. We're here for you, and we want to guide you every step of the way so that you can have that resource or those resources for you to become the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like for you.
That's awesome. So I'll end with this, guys. Thank you so much, Todd, for all this info. I was taking a lot of mental notes now, not to journal it, but I just want to let you guys know that we just recently launched a very powerful membership out there. And just so you guys know about this, because some people don't know about it yet, but I don't know about you, but this is the year where we take care of ourselves. We need to have our self-care. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't mind having 4 or almost actually 5 energy healing sessions a month. Mm-hmm. And it's really for the price of $250, which is crazy. So I'm doing a group healing on everyone. Everyone needs help in finances, relationship, your emotional health or whatever. I'm going to be working on every area of your life every single week. I've been doing this for 6 years, working on 100 clients a week. Imagine I'm sending you an email, sending you a recording of the work that I'm doing with you. On top of that, you have a transformational coach doing a group coaching with you, an energy healer, also working with you privately once a month as well. So then you can work on your specific things that you need. Then we have 9 other things that our IOI Institute is giving to you. And honestly, there's nothing like it on here. I don't see anywhere in the world where it's what's the best self-care system? We just made it just a week ago. So I don't know, Todd, if you want to share anything about that. But
I look at this as, Starbucks, Oracle, employees as an employee benefit. It's $250 a month. I mean, it's basically the cost of maybe your nutritional products that you use every month, or even just going to Starbucks every month. but just having live healing, one-on-one healing, group healing, coaching, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, me and you leading them, $250 a month, month to month. And just even being a partner with us and even getting paid as a coach and practitioner down the road is amazing. And it's something that has exploded already. And what the cool thing is, we created the funnel that's going to really be a 7-figure funnel all over the world on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram that really is going to capture people and bring them to us because it's affordable. And like I said, like if you can heal yourself, it's priceless. You know, if I could heal myself and save a marriage, it's priceless. If I could heal myself with the help of obviously the healers and save and actually be more of a family man, a better father, a better friend, be more heart-centered, it's priceless. You can't put a price on that. You know, 250, that I have a pair of sneakers on that cost more than $250. Okay. So it's not much money, but it really is something that you can start to, you know, really see the difference in that first month or less. I mean, people are gonna be like, what changed with you? You know, what's different? Oh, I'm more calm. I'm more happy. I'm really leading myself. I have a better routine. I have a better calendar. I'm winning the battle within myself. That's priceless. I mean, think about what that could do for you in all other aspects of your life. So I would say we'll send out a link, or they can. How do they get a hold of us? I guess we'll put a link in the comment section.
Yeah, we'll put a link, or if I know that Aaron's here listening, if anybody wants to put the IOImember.com, just you
talk
can
to
get
Aaron Berry. Yeah, inbox Aaron Berry. He'll help you. He's on our advisory board, one of our very trusted members there. So he'll reach out to you and help you get started.
Perfect. Awesome. So thank you so much for all your time. I'm glad that we have to connect here. And every single Wednesday, we're going to come on here. We're going to share something powerful and something new that you guys can really just work with and then just kind of move forward with your life. And like I said, we just really care about what everyone's doing in 2021. We want you guys to succeed, but we want to give you tools too. That's why we had to talk about that membership, because all this talking is great, but this is technically almost like you reading an excerpt of the book. Remember, if you're not removing the trauma from you, or you're not getting coached with someone about specific things, you're going to kind of stay in the ever learning process and you're not going to really develop. So that's why I definitely check out the membership. It might be that add-on that you've always wanted to kind of move you ahead in life. So with that, everyone take care. Glad you guys are here. Thanks, Todd, for being here, and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much.